everybody, welcome back to Taji's World of Books, and welcome to another book recommendation video. Hey you guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to be doing hits and misses. Some of these books were hits, some of them not so much. So let's get into it. Okay, so I had, you guys know that I'm going through and trying to clear out my shelves. I have so many sort of old books, not old books, but books that reflected my reading taste from before when I was more like into fantasy and didn't really get that fantasy romance was what I was after, and the romance component was the most important part. And so hearkening back to those days, I still have books that I bought that I didn't know much about that are on my shelves, and I'm trying to get through them and clear them out because there are some really juicy good ones, new ones, things that I know I'm going to love that I want to get, and I just have said to myself, no more book buying until we get through these. So that's what I'm doing. So let's get into all these books. And these are random. They're totally random, but it'll be fun, whatever. Okay, so the first one is Sugar Daddies by Jade West, and this one was a total hit for me. I absolutely loved it, and you guys know I have my notes down here for me to remember. So this is a menage situation. I absolutely love it. It's Carl, Rick, and Katie. And Carl and Rick are already an established couple. They sort of got together because, like, through a previous girlfriend that one of them was with, and they brought in a third person, and it soon was determined that that girlfriend was, like, not what she cracked up to be. She wasn't worth it, and so they just said, nix her, and, we're just going to continue hooking up because we enjoy each other, and so they become an established couple. So what they do is they go on this website for looking for sugar babies because they want to have a very clear-cut and defined relationship. We're a solid couple. We're looking for a third. Let's really define the parameters of what that's going to look like, and you join us for a contracted amount of time. We make it worth your while because we pay you a certain amount, and so on and so forth. And so they've done this multiple times. And so usually the women that join this site are women that need financial help. So Katie is a shy girl, and she's not really outgoing, and she decides that she wants to join this site because she wants to try something completely different. She's not 100% sure that she's really into it. This is really what she wants in terms of the financial remuneration, but she definitely wants the sexual experience. And so she definitely decides, like, I'm going to do this, and I've decided. And she hits upon Carl and Rick. Carl and Rick tick her boxes. They meet up. She hits their boxes, and they basically embark on trying to navigate the parameters of their relationship. It soon becomes apparent that they are all perfect for one another. Rick and Carl's personality are very, very different. Carl is a hard ass, and he's a bit rude, and he's very matter of fact, and he's clear cut and like really just dry. So like when she comes in, he's like, let's get to it. So here's how much we're gonna pay you, and this is what we're gonna do, and this is what it's gonna be like. And she's like, do you want me to take my clothes off? Like, she doesn't understand, like, it's too abrupt. Whereas Rick is really easygoing. He's an artist, he's cool, he's laid back, he's chill. And so Rick is like, you need to chill. And Carl, I think, comes at it like he's like a 40-year-old dude, and in his mind, he's like, I want to have a family, I want to settle down, and I can't settle down if, I don't want to be an old dad. Like, I'm already 40. Like, we got to figure out, and I'm not leaving you, Rick, so, like, we got to find that third who's going to join us permanently and not this temporary arrangement. So he feels a lot of pressure, and he puts that pressure onto the relationship. And so Katie has to decide, because she is just like 21. She's very, very young. She's never considered having children. She comes from a broken home. She believes that her father abandoned her mother when she was pregnant, and so they have scraped and scrambled their entire life. And so she's like, why would I ever want to bring a child into this world that you ultimately are going to abandon? Like, I'm not okay with that. Like, I'm never going to do this. And so she bucks against, she's like, I'm okay with a temporary 6-month arrangement, but when you start talking permanent, and you start talking about babies, and you start talking about all that stuff, she's like, that is not what I signed up for. And then Rick kind of gets pissed off at Carl because he's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, we talked about this. Like, you're not supposed to be springing this on her. So they've got to navigate and figure out the relationship and what all this means. And there's a couple plot twists. And so this is a fun ride, you guys. It is super fun. I love it. really realizing that I love Jade West's writing, and I really appreciate how she writes. So I'm going to say overall this is a 4. Angst-wise, this is a 2, and spice, it is a 5. There's some hot, sexy, steamy scenes. These dudes are dirty. They are dirty in terms of what they want. And Katie is all in for it. And so it's super fun. It's a great ride. You will not be disappointed in Jade West Sugar Daddies. Okay, so then I checked out this Ronnie Douglas Undaunted. I think this was like one of the purchases that I rounded out my purchase on Book Outlet, I think is what it is. And so this is like supposed to be, the tropes in here are supposed to be forbidden because in the MC, in the town that she lives in or that she's moved to, any of the barmaids that work at the bar are not allowed to date any of the Patch brothers. So it's forbidden, it's slow burn, it's MC, and it's a love triangle. So it hits those buttons. So we think it's gonna be pretty angsty, right? So overall what's happening is that Aubrey is trying to get her life together. She leaves Oregon where she lives with her mom and her mother and her father. Mother and father got in trouble for some illegal activity that they were engaging in, some tax evasion, stuff like that. She's like, dude, I can't deal with you guys. Like, I need to get my shit together. So she moves with her grandmother in Tennessee. And right when she moves into town, she sees that there are there's an MC club that's very dialed into the community. She meets this guy named Killer, or he introduces himself as Zion. She really likes him, but she's unsure about him. And she has a policy that she does not date at all. She is not a virgin. She makes it very clear that I had a pact at senior prom that we all friends just basically got together and we hooked up, because we just wanted to get the V card out of the way. I wanted to see what all the hype was. There is no hype. I'm uninterested. And so, you know, the story sort of unfolds from there. She gets a job at a bar because she needs to make some money. And like I said, at this particular bar where all of like the Patch brothers are there, she learns that if you're going to be working here, you can't date any of the brothers. And as soon as she walks in, who's there but Zion? So she's like, okay, so he's off limits. But his cousin is interested, and so the cousin his name is Noah, and he makes a move on her hard, and Zion is pissed because Zion is interested in her as well, but she's off limits, but he's not gonna let anybody else have her, and so that little dynamic sort of ensues from there. So he's basically, Noah makes a pact with her that says like, why don't we secretly date on the side and we can be friends with benefits and nobody will ever know, and we'll keep it on the side and keep it hush hush and it'll be just between you and I. And so she has to consider, but she has these really pulling feelings towards Zion, towards Killer, even though he's not going to act on it, and she's kind of pissed off at him that he's ignoring her because he's trying to live up to the tenets of the bar and all of that, and to his prez. And so his prez is like, this is a no-go, don't you dare go, you know. And not only don't you dare go there, but I know her grandmother, and her grandmother and me, prez, have history together, and you're not going to jack up that history. So it's a really complicated, convoluted tale. So let me say this. Overall, I thought I was really bored. It just didn't read well for me. It wasn't angsty. It wasn't spicy. I think you got overall like one spicy scene and then it was fade to black from there. So overall, I gave it a 3. Angst, I gave it a 3. And for spice, I gave it a 1. There is a second book in this trilogy, or in this story, that I went ahead and read, and it's about one of her friends and the Noah character. That second book was called Unruly. That's book 2. I'll put it over here. And that's a secret dating trope as well. Friends with benefits, but she no longer wants this. A new brother comes into town. He's escaping some things. His name is Alamo. She's really interested in him, but he doesn't want to put her in danger. He doesn't want to date someone who is on an on again relationship with one of the other brothers because he doesn't want any drama. And yet again, it was boring. So I gave it an overall rating of a 3, an angst of a 1, and a spice of a 1. So that was Unruly. Then this is J.A. Ridmarsky, The Moment of Letting Go. This is about Sienna Murphy. Sienna is the type of girl that always has a plan. She is an event planner, but she is very meticulous and precise in everything that she does. And she's going to stick to her plan. You know, once she got it set, she's going for it. She's afraid of flying, but she wants to overcome that. She's got a job as an event planner, planning very high-end weddings and different types of events. Her next job is in Hawaii. She gets her best friend the job with her. So her and her best friend embark on this trip to Hawaii to plan this event. Of course, the event is sabotaged by her persnickety clients, but she works through it. While she's on the beach, she meets a guy named Luke, and she really hit it off. And to make a long story short, she decides to extend her stay to stay with him for a couple weeks to hang out and to kind of just get to know each other. And she has a lot of fears and heights, including flying, and Luke is an extreme sportsman. He cliff dives, face dives, does all kinds of, like, you know, skiing, snowboarding, like all kinds of excessive sports. So let me say this book read very young, and I was again bored, and it was, the spice was a 1, the angst was a 2, even though it was supposed to be very angsty. I just thought that it just read young and like they were immature. They were supposed to be, you know, like out of college and like their first jobs and working, and it read more like they were still in high school, you know? So I just wasn't feeling it at all. So it was supposed to be a new adult, and it just didn't read like new adult. And so overall I gave it a rating of a 3.5. So then I read Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge, and this turned out to be kind of cool. This was a Greek mythology retelling, and so the tropes that it sort of covered were the Beauty and the Beast, Persephone and Hades, and it definitely had a love triangle component. And so the way that the story goes is that Nyx is raised by her father. Her mother died when she was young. She has a sister, and she is basically raised to be the betrothed of this demon, and this demon controls the realm that they live in. And he controls the realm because he's basically destroyed the sun and destroyed the world, and so they live under this dome, so they never actually see the sky. What they see is like a hologram of that, right? And so what happened that you learn is that her father and mother really wanted children, and so they went to this demon to make a bargain. And we learned that this demon, he is the ruler of bargains, but the bargains never quite work out the way that you think that they will. Just what you think you're gonna get, you get some twisted version. So you have to really carefully consider and think through the bargains that you make before you make them. And so she has to be sacrificed as a result, and she is raised her whole life to be the betrothed of this demon, okay? And he basically is an evil ruler. So it's all, the beginning of the book starts off with her being prepared for her wedding, and she is then shuffled off, and she's put locked into the house with the demon ruler, and she doesn't know what to expect, but her goal is to kill him because she wants to free her people. And so, you know, as the story sort of unfolds, you see that her father, her sister, all abandon her. They don't even try to save her. They basically leave her to the throes and whims of this demon, and she has to try to figure it out on her own. But nothing is as it seems, and nothing is ever what you expect it to be, and the demon is no different. So when she meets the demon, she expects him to do certain things that he doesn't do. Sorry, the gardener's here. So nothing is ever as it seems to be, and when she meets the demon, it's just not what she thinks. Now there is another character that is there that seems to be, she calls him Shade, but he is basically the shadow of the demon, and he does the bidding of the demon and basically follows her around and makes sure that she isn't going into places that she shouldn't be, and she's doing what she's only doing the things that he has allowed her to do and not doing things that she shouldn't be. And she quickly develops an affection for Shade because Shade, she learns, is a prisoner just like she is. So therein lies the love triangle component. And so it's really interesting how she needs to find the heart of the house. Shade helps her to learn the secrets to how to kill the demon. So she's on a mission, and she is on a mission to find the different hearts. And if she compiles all the hearts, she will be able to kill the demon and save her people. And that basically is what the book is about. But it has lots of plot twists and turns, and it's not as you expect it to be. It turns out to be a really interesting story. I'm gonna say that the spice is 0. There's no spice. It's a YA, so you just don't get any. There's not even closed door, you just don't get any. And the angst is a 2, and overall, I'm gonna say it's a 3.5. So it's meh, it was okay. After all the crap that I read before this, I was like, this is a breath of fresh air. I was good with this. Okay, so then the next that I read was Come Back to Me by Mila Gray. And this is my best friend's sister trope, and it's a military romance. And basically it's the story of Tessa and Kit. And basically Kit and Riley, okay, are best friends, and Riley is Tessa's brother. And it starts off, they are both enlisted to go into the military. And it starts off with the chaplain coming to Tessa's home, and you discover very quickly there's no reason why on a Sunday morning at 6 o'clock the chaplain would be coming there. Either Riley or Kit is dead, and Tessa can't deal with it. She's just broken. And so the story is told then backwards about how Tessa and Kit got together and how they came to be. So let me say 3/4 of this book is boring. And the last quarter, once you get through how Tessa and Kit got together, that's when it gets really angsty, and that's where you're trying to figure out what's going to happen, because that's when you learn who died, and that's when you learn like what's going to happen as a result of this death. So it's dealing a lot with PTSD, it's dealing a lot with trauma, it's dealing a lot with like alcoholism and dealing with death, and it is really good. And there is a story, there's a backstory with the parents, and so this is a fun ride for sure. It definitely gave me all the vibes. It's an overall 4, it's an angst of a 4, and again, it's like a YA new adult, so the spice is a 1, but it was a fun ride. But like I said, the first chapter, when you find out that like somebody died, like all that's good. And then when you get all the backstory in the middle of like Tessa telling you how she and Kit got together, super freaking boring, read really young. And then the last quarter of the book, once you figure out who died and then what's happening and then all the angst that's around that, super good. So take that for what it is. Then the next book in the story is Stay With Me. And this is Dee Dee and Walker's story. Dee Dee is a psychology student that's working in a military hospital, and Walker is a wounded warrior who's convalescing and has somatic blindness because of an IUD, so meaning that there is no physical reason why he should be blind, but he is blind, he is unable to see. And this basically is their story of them deciding, the tropes are like it's a forbidden romance because they're not supposed to, because she is working with him as a patient and you're not allowed to date your patients, and you know whether or not they're going to cross that line. She also has a previous boyfriend who is a actor, and like what that all means and whether or not she's going to choose that actor or she's going to choose Walker. And let me say, like, I feel like overall I was so bored that I was like, and I often don't do this where I don't finish series. There are 2 other books in the series, Run Away With Me and Watch Over Me, and I was like, I could care less. I could care less. This didn't, it gave very little spice. The angst was a 3, the spice was a 2. Overall, it was a 2. Like, I was just so bored. I was like, I don't give a shit about Dee Dee. I don't care about Walker. She is making poor choices. You guys read super young. Like, this doesn't even read like new adult. Like, why do I even care? You know what? I don't. And for the first time in my life, I'm going to say, I'm not reading the rest of this series because I'm not going to torture myself, because I got so many other things that I could be reading right now that I'm going to go do that. And so that, I said, Mila Gray, thank you, but no thank you. So, you guys, that is all that I had today. So like I said, there were some hits and there were some misses. So you win some, you lose some. It's all good, right? So that is all that I have for today. Please do me a favor and hit that bell notification button so you can be notified every time I upload a new video, which is generally 3 times a week. And hit that like bell because it really helps me with the YouTube algorithm. I really appreciate it when you guys do that. It means so much to me. And continue to comment in the comment below, in the section below, because I like to hear what you guys think. I like to hear what you guys are reading. I like to get your suggestions. All of that is amazing and fun, and I love to interact with you, and I'd love to meet new people. So, having said that, thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video.